This is the SPS 6 in Alabama. We're at section 1. Our delineator is in good shape. The right-of-way sign is nowhere to be seen. We do have a sign ahead about 100 feet for our section. This is a JCP section on southbound I-59 to JCP. They have done some patching along the shoulder, but as you can see, no sealant has ever been used along this shoulder. There's also areas of pumping, which you can see there along the shoulder. Those are all located at transverse joints. The entire surface of the section has map cracking. It's pretty uniform throughout. The other distress that's prevalent out here is joint spalling and joint damage. As you can see, they did seal the longitudinal joint in the center stripe. Again, some spalling along the transverse joint, some spalling along the longitudinal joint along the edge. Those are the primary distresses. While the lane to shoulder separation measurements at certain locations where we measured them, they do kind of widen in areas where we've got the areas of pumping. There's also been quite a lot of settlement. You can see there that is about 1.5 inches. But at the joint, it comes back up, and we only got a reading of, I think, 4 or 5 at that joint. But the lane to shoulder drop-off is bigger at the transverse joints, at least most of them where the pumping is prevalent. We do have some other spalling here just before station 50. The patching wasn't big enough to count, but we counted that as a longitudinal spall. Not big enough for a corner break. We do have one rigid patch in the section. I think that's the only patch out here. You can see some of the areas are pretty large there with this pumping along these joints. But this is our rigid patch. You can see originally, I think it was a joint restoration or repair, full depth. The big transverse crack out here is this one right here. There is a little bit of faulting along this crack, but it's primarily moderate severity because of the spalling along the crack. At 325, we got another longitudinal spall. Okay, station 3+50 of section 1 of the SPS 6, southbound I-95 or I-59. Again, there's no joint sealant along this edge stripe or along between the shoulder and the slab. They did start at the very end of this project. Again, we have some more spalling along the joint there before 450. Some of these joints were in pretty good shape. In the transverse joint. But we did have some with some pretty big damage. This one wasn't too bad. We've got a lot of that stuff going on in some of those that were 5AH and 5AM. And then right here, just past about a meter past our last joint, they've actually done sealant all the way down as far as I can see along this shoulder. So the rest of the sections probably have it. Our control section doesn't have anything, and that's definitely going to affect the performance. As you can see, the pumping is out here. I'm surprised there hasn't been more corner brakes than there have been, but anyway, that's station 5. This is just before milepost 197. We don't have a delineator. So anyway, that's section 1 of the SPS 6 Arkansas southbound I-59.